Terence Crawford beats Errol Spence Jr. Says, hey, it's me, Mike Tyson. Listen, guys, I'm picking Terence Crawford. I think the way he beat Sean Porter was... Find out more in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you come in, smash the like button. Gang, gang. Now, Mike Tyson weighed in on the much anticipated undisputed fight, Errol Spence Jr. Hey, start that cat versus Terence Crawford. As of me recording the video, the fight has not officially been announced, but many are speculating, many rumors swirling that, you know, since Crawford's become a free agent, this is the closest that we've ever been to getting it. Mike Tyson weighed in and said this. He said, Terence Crawford, he beats Errol Spence. The reason why I say Crawford is when you look at the guys they both fought, like Sean Porter, look at what Errol Spence did to Porter, and then you look at what Crawford did to Porter. This is a quote from Mike Tyson. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. On this Mike Tyson, like I told you, Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, both terrific fighters. It's that type of fight. I can understand people picking Errol Spence Jr. to win if they have a sound logic, and I can understand people picking Terence Crawford if they have a sound logic. But I'll be very frank and very honest. This is disappointing that Mike Tyson is using triangle theories as the reason for it. Like, I wasn't even mad that Mike Tyson picked Terence Crawford, because some people are picking Terence Crawford, and neither guy is a bad pick. They're the best guys at welterweight. They're the last men standing with championship belts. So I get it. So I'm not even mad at, again, I told you, like, see, my thing is on my channel, I give you guys the real, the uncut, that raw, that cocaina, that puro, that blue magic. I got blue magic, name brand. I guarantee you my dollar, huh? It's $25,000 alpaca, right? I give you blue magic. So I'm not mad at anyone, truthfully, not mad at anyone picking Crawford or Spence, but I would like to see the logic actually applied, like break down the fight, like, oh, Crawford will take away Errol Spence's jab, or they both could fight southpaw, but Crawford this. Like, I want to hear some kind of analytical breakdown. But what Mike Tyson gave is like math, triangle theories, equations. Boxing doesn't work like that. Boxing has never worked like that, where based on some kind of math problem or formula, or fighter A did this versus fighter B, so fighter C will do this to fighter A. That's just, you know, that's been proven so many times that it doesn't work. I could think of several, like, using this same logic. You have to, like, it, to be honest, when people use triangle theories, it's almost an insult to like, boxing is so much deeper than any triangle theory can encompass. You gotta, like, when I look at a fight prediction, right, and I have a great streak of getting these right, you gotta look at fighters' age, their style, their height, their, you know, natural weight. You gotta look at, do they throw jabs? Are they an offensive only guy? Are they a complete fighter? Do they have any defense? Do they lack defense? Do they have head movement? Do they not have head movement? What is their training looking like? You know, who's their trainer? Who is their coach? How many years? What type of experience do they have? When was their last fight? Have they fought anyone at this level? Right? All these things need to be factored in, and that's just some cliff notes, to be honest. But all these things have to be factored in terms of who will win a fight. And then you can have all those pieces of intel or data and still be wrong. That's just the nature of boxing, because styles make fights. So I swear, I really wish Mike Tyson, if he was going to pick Crawford, I was hoping that he would say a little bit something more, you know, coming from a guy who, you know, I mastered the art of skullduggery and This guy is I'm the best ever. There's nobody that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. I'm just ferocious. I want his heart. I want to eat his kid. Like, we're talking about Mike Tyson. So he knows the art. He knows the sport. He's a boxer. I just would like to see something more, meticulous and thought out than, oh, look what Errol Spence did with Porter, and look what what happened with Sean Porter versus Crawford. That really means nothing. And I can think of several examples. For example, Terence Crawford, when he fought Victor Postal, that was years ago. And Terence Crawford, I was at that fight actually in Las Vegas. Terence Crawford, he dropped Victor Postal, but the fight went the distance. Years later, after Postal lost to Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez close, and his country was at war with the Ukraine being invaded by Russia, he fights during that time, like when Ukraine was invaded, he's Ukrainian, and he fights against Gary Antoine Russell. And Gary Antoine Russell got a stoppage in that fight, right? So using this same logic from what Mike Tyson or anybody who's using triangle theories, then that means automatically Gary Antoine Russell would beat Terence Crawford, even though he lacks Crawford's level of experience and years in the game. And Crawford fighting at 147, Gary Antoine Russell's at 140, et cetera, but they have a mutual opponent, right? It's kind of the same thing. They have a mutual opponent in Victor Postal, different outcomes. The other reason why triangle theories seldom work is because there's certain things in boxing, like Jeff Horn, if I go to his box record, it'll say he beat Pacquiao. Triple G, if I go to his box record, it'll say he beat Derevyanchenko and Jacobs. Canelo, it'll say he beat Triple G. Hey, no guys, punches, right? And you'll see these things. You'll see on BoxRec that Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. had a draw with Pernell Whitaker. But what those things don't tell you, because it's just a cut and dry somebody being awarded the fight, it doesn't tell you controversies, criticisms, premature stop. It doesn't say anything. It just says Jeff Horn beats Manny Pacquiao, but I watched the fight and I think he definitely lost the fight. Even with the Gary Antoine Russell example that I just gave, some people thought that it didn't need to be stopped and Victor, because it got stopped in the 12th round, in the final round, right? And some people thought Postal, he got hurt, but it wasn't like where he couldn't continue. And, Gary Antoine Russell got the stoppage. I'm not mad at it. It is what it is, but you can't just use that as a catalyst and be like, oh, okay, he beats Terence Crawford. There's just so many other things you would have to factor. And it's funny that some people don't apply this logic. They do triangle theories only when it's convenient. We look at Manny Pacquiao and Ruslan Provodnikov out of Russia, two big punchers, could not stop Chris Algieri, right? But Errol Spence did. So if Errol Spence and Pacquiao fought, which they were scheduled to fight, there were people that were picking Pacquiao to beat Spence. So I thought you guys like triangle theories, as Mike Tyson is suggesting. Hey, look at what Spence did with Porter, and look at what Spence did with Crawford and how the outcomes. You see, this is why these things don't work. That doesn't automatically mean that this happened and this happened with this fighter at this particular time. So it just crosses over and you automatically know what's next. It's not what happens in boxing. Furthermore, Porter and the versions that Crawford as well as Errol Spence got, completely different. And I think you look at Crawford's last two opponents have been Errol Spence leftovers. And I do believe firmly Errol Spence fought the more significant version. He fought the champion version of Kell Brook. So basically, realistically, I got me chocolate right hand brownie and I'm gonna fight with Errol, right? He fought a champion version, not 3 years later when he was like all but forgotten about and contemplated retiring and did drugs and abused alcohol, his own admission, right? And then Sean Porter, same thing. Sean Porter was podcasting, the pandemic. He had one fight with Sebastian Formella before that fight versus he was coming off the Ugas fight, right? Right before Errol Spence, and Sean Porter was the champion. So for Mike Tyson to say, hey, this is why I'm saying it, it just, that don't really make sense. I don't think a lot of boxers watch boxing. I think there's a lot of the celebrity boxers and, they come from boxing, but they don't really watch boxing. And it's funny because sometimes you hear fighters like, oh, they'll say like, oh, you YouTuber, you didn't box. You're not a boxer. But then you have boxers like Mike Tyson, and he's an actual boxer and he's using triangle theories. So I think a lot of boxers don't necessarily actually watch boxing. So they just say kind of surface area, almost casual level things. Or maybe it's a relationship that they have and, they like one person better. So there's a lot of inherent biases and relationships that need to be protected, because a lot of people seem to be doubting Errol Spence as if he has no chance. And I don't see it that way. Paulie Malignaggi is like one of the only people with a name that even acts like Errol Spence has a chance. So that's my thoughts. Let me know how I did in this video. Mike Tyson picking against, just like a lot of the legends, picking against Errol Spence. But, Mike or Roy or Tarver, whoever picking against Errol Spence, they can't fight for Errol Spence. They can't fight for Crawford. So we'll see if the fight gets made. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Gang, gang. Subscribe. And I'm introducing Super Thanks right here on the official Boxing Ego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.